Now we have to go over and above, and we call it excellence. Just to do your job is not enough anymore. Now you have to excite customers. You have to make them happy in your price. The competition is doing it anyway. And I'm so happy I do what I do because we change people's lives.
You help them to realize what they
Yes,
need.
I don't do anything for anybody. They do it themselves. People should never stay stationary. Always move. And that's one way.
And develop, keep moving, keep developing, keep growing.
That's it.
Absolutely. I mean, I would say I've seen it so often, and definitely when I started my career, nobody wanted to train me. I'm Farah Shammas. Welcome to Hotel Talk. We hope you enjoy listening to this friendly conversation between people connected by real life in hotels. Today, I'm so happy to welcome Mr. Yiannis Kalogerakis. He is a great friend, if I can call him that, after quite a couple of years now of working together. He is the owner and founder of JMK, which is, and I'll try and say this all properly, an Anthropocentric strategic people development company. So he's a trainer and a speaker, and wow, what a speaker he is. Yiannis, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for having me here.
You're fresh off a plane, aren't you, from Greece?
I am, yes, I just came.
Oh, so nice.
Okay.
So you're here to do some training in Cyprus. You train not just hotels, many different companies.
Yes. At this time, I'll be training the teachers of Pascal schools to teach to their young ones emotional intelligence and other multiple intelligences, which is a first for Cyprus.
Which is amazing.
Yes, it is. We need that.
And I think teachers also need it. I mean, people need it. Children are more in tune with their emotional intelligence.
We're preparing the new generation.
Yeah, but we tend to squash it and not be, as accepting. So that's great. Yes. But I want to go on, first of all, to ask you, okay, that's one training you've done. You've done some training for us. But in general, what are you asked to train? What skill sets are you asked to train the most? Or rather, who are you asked to train the most?
Okay, this is very interesting because I'm a technical person. My PhD is on robotics. I'm an engineer.
Wow.
So initially, that's in the 80s, I started training people on hard skills. And slowly I moved on to soft skills. So for the past 40 years now, I've been training on two levels, first of all. The level one is the people who come in touch with customers, with other people who see other people and collaborate with them. That's one level. And the other level is people who empower and lead the first level people. People who guide, coach, and help, assist, organize these people. So these are the two levels. Both levels, they're on soft skills. For example, I train in hotels around the world, not just on customer service. That used to be in the early 20s. Now we don't train only on quality service. Now we go on amazing experience. So the first level I mentioned, they have to give an amazing experience to the customer. And the other level I mentioned, they have to be aware of it and support the people who interact with customers because they need special support and guidance in order to give the full self, 100% and all that. And it's really rewarding, not just for them, for me as well.
I'm sure. So tell us a bit more about the soft skills. What soft skills can people employ within themselves and their organizations to make their culture healthier?
Yes. This is very interesting because for many years, people did not touch soft skills, which have to do with emotions, have to do with something. That's why we call them soft. A hard skill is to learn to do, let's say, welding or to do finance. Or this is a hard skill when you learn PowerPoint.
Learn how to use a computer.
How to use something. Even how to serve people, if you like. How to cook. How to do all these things. But now the cherry on top, is the soft skill. That is how you do what you do. And while doing it, how do you feel? And how do you make other people feel about that? You see, in the past, people used to do their job very well and then go home. That's not enough anymore. Now we have to go over and above, and we call it excellence. Just to do your job is not enough anymore. Everybody's doing their job. That's not enough. Now you have to excite customers, and you have to excite people in general. You have to make them happy in your presence. You have to make the difference. The competition is doing it anyway. So you have to make a difference. This different thing, I'm not talking about, let's say, learning different languages. That's a hard skill. A soft skill is the words that you use and how you make other people feel. So it goes beyond the classical professionalism as we knew it, and gets deeper into the soul of people, of how they feel. And that suits hospitality professionals really, really well, because that's what hospitality is all about. Hotel is not just come, sleep, have a swim, have a sauna, and go. Hotel is like a paradise on earth. Like what you have created here yourself.
Thank you.
It's somewhere that you go, not only you relax, but you feel welcome. You feel, let's say I go to my room, I just had left my case and came down, and you get the feeling of freshness. You get the feeling you are the first one. And there are thousands of people before me in that room, but I get the feeling I'm unique. I'm well catered for. I'm the first one. And then when I meet people and say hello and good morning, in the past, they used to hide, they used to avoid looking at me. Now they look at me and they smile. Now that's a soft skill. You did not order them to smile. You just create the environment. Within environment, they all feel self-motivated. You don't motivate your people. You create the environment, and it shows. And because I train a lot of hotels around the world, and I go to hotels and I'm really embarrassed because it does not show. And I'm thinking, oh my God, they don't have a lot, as we say in Greek, many breads.
They
don't have a lot, yes. And then I go to some other places and I say, wow, I'm going to stay here forever. That's the difference. Soft skills make the difference, yes.
There's an expression that's used a lot in English, which is there's nought stranger than folk. So there's nothing stranger or weirder than people. How do you see people? Because that's your job, your industry, and you see so many people from, employees at all levels to managers at all levels, all backgrounds, leaders. Is there a common denominator in everyone?
Farah, I'm so happy you want to go deep in this conversation because this is really deep.
Well, I don't want to make it boring. It's
not boring.
I don't want a fact sheet. People can go onto your website to see that. So I want to,
besides, I will offer you my opinion, as you said.
Absolutely.
I have a very strong opinion. We're not, someone said, I don't know who, we're not bodies having a spiritual experience. We're spirits having a physical experience. So this spirit is the decisive factor for people to be happy or unhappy. So when we go to that level, we see that people always make a choice. You see, I don't like the word change. I like the word choice. I don't say I'm gonna change you or help you change. I say I help you make a choice. So it's a choice you make, and people are free to choose. Free to choose.
It means to be happy or sad, to be excited or frustrated.
Yes, that's the outcome. Yes, at the end, yes, that's the happy or sad, excited. That's the end. But before that, you choose your behavior. I choose every moment, every day, how to behave. And that comes from thoughts. So I choose how to think. I choose what to think. The minute people realize this, then they guide their life to a better road. For example, I don't know if you ever met a blind person. Blind people can hear a fly 2 kilometers away. I cannot. You see, if nature takes away one of your senses, it enhances the other senses. So all people are made to look at someone and say, look, he's tall, short, fat, skinny, the ears are... So we try to find something either to talk or negative, or to laugh, or to pinpoint, or negative things. We pinpoint negative. His smell, breath, his breath smells, or he's has a limp when he walks or something. So I teach people, let's concentrate on the positive. Let's see if he has one arm, how nature has compensated for it. If he cannot hear, or he cannot see, or he cannot speak, how nature has compensated. Try to find the positive. This is not a change. This is a new way of thinking. So if you get thinking and looking and paying attention to the positive, your life becomes so much more pleasurable.
Absolutely.
So you control
Look on the bright
this.
side.
A lot of people say to me, "Oh, it's not. It's someone else makes me happy or unhappy," and I say, "No, it's you who do that." The minute people realize this, their life is changed forever. And I'm so happy I do what I do, because I'm trying to be humble here, but I have to mention, I don't like saying it, my wife says it for me, we change people's lives because they see in a different, and of course, we don't say we did it, because they did it.
You help them to realize what they needed.
I don't do anything for anybody. They do it themselves. I aid, I assist their thinking into choosing something that will make them better professionals, better people, better husbands, wives, friends, parents. So to go back to your original question, it all comes down to our childhood and to the early ages. That's where we learn how to think. And whom do we imitate? Our parents. I mean, I enjoy looking at your daughter, watching you and having... Now, she's learning so much from you. So I can fast forward 20 years. I'm not going to be alive in 30, 40 years, but I can see her. Sorry to say this, Farah, she's going to be better than you.
I would hope so.
Yes, because
that's the plan.
It's a good
That's
plan.
the plan.
It's a good plan. It's a good plan, because
all of them,
yes,
they've got to be the best version of themselves, and they're already better than me.
And you're doing it. And you're doing it. You're on that way. And the way for our listeners to do it, if they want to go down this road, is to ask questions. Don't point the negative. Let's say, instead of saying to someone, how was school today? Or what did you learn today? You don't say that. You say, tell me one good thing about the school you're going. Tell me something that you found interesting, or tell me something that made you sad today. And then the child has lots to talk about. But if you say how was, or what did you learn, or whatever, it's too vague. The person is feeling uncomfortable. But if you say, tell me something you love in this school, in your class. He says, oh, I'm friends with Katerina. Tell me something you love about Katerina. Tell me something that you... And then people have lots to talk about. So how to do it, how to guide our children with questions. Do you think what you did there with your cousin was right? Do you think pulling hair is would you like your hair to be pulled? How do you feel? Always a question. If you take a position, pulling hair is not right, don't do this, then you make people authoritarian. You make people
feel cornered and react.
Yes, and react. We want them not to react, we want them to think. And then choose their behavior, not impulse reaction, or in anger, or in cornered situations, just thinking and behaving accordingly. So it all starts on the young age. That's where it all starts.
That's what it was. My next question, actually. So I heard a very nice saying, let's say years ago, when someone was saying, it's a common question, do you view the glass half full or half empty? And the answer of someone was, I'm just happy to have a glass.
Good.
Which is, absolutely a different way to look at it. Like, it's neither, but I'm still going to be positive.
That's a good view of life, actually, because you implied in what you said that some people see what they don't have, what's missing, and some people what they have, what they already possess in their life. So you have let's say a glass, any size of glass, let's say a tall glass, and you have very little liquid in it, then people, their eye goes on what's missing. But of course, some people, they say, I'm happy to have got what I'd like to say is that maybe you have the wrong glass, because if the glass goes tiny, it will be full. glass is our expectations. For example, if I expect to buy a helicopter by Christmas, that's a wrong expectations. I don't know how to fly a helicopter. I won't make enough money for it and all that. So what are your expectations? I'm not saying to look high and top, but I'm just saying, are they down to earth?
Are they reasonable? Are they
reasonable?
attainable?
Because it's one step at a time, one day at a time, you move into great things. So some people are unhappy because they're going to be kings or queens or princesses or whatever. And I hear people saying, "Oh," I say, "What do you want to do in your life?" And they say, "I'm going to be the CEO in the next 5 years." I say, wait a minute. Let's work on a plan, but you cannot, or some people say next year or in a month. That cannot be so. But you don't say this. They say, okay, so have you got a plan? Because you have to slowly work on this. You explain to them, not in a negative way, but in a way that let's work on this, but don't, and sometimes they realize it cannot be done, but I can actually achieve other things. So it's very important to have dreams, but to program your expectations step by step. So what I'm really saying about the glass is that it's all relative to the glass, because even a full glass that you have now, if the glass goes 1 meter higher, then it will look tiny, the liquid. But it's very important to have the positive attitude to what you just said, that I'm happy to have a glass, I'm happy to have water in it.
So on that note, do you think that we're born with a predisposition to be more positive or more negative?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, obviously we can, as you said, maybe not change, but develop or be shown a better way.
Yes.
But is this fundamentally in our character, or is it purely from the influence of our parents and our nurturing and our surroundings?
That is another deep question. My God, Farah, you really like the deep conversation. Well, let me tell you that something about 40% is hereditary, and 50 is in young childhood, and 10% is what we can change about our character in life. But both 10, 40, and 50, all three portions, they possess good and bad. So from our DNA, we inherited good and bad characteristics. In childhood, we took good and bad characteristics. In life, we're going to take good and bad. Actually, it's 50-50, and that is the meaning of life, in my opinion. 50-50 is every person. It doesn't matter if it's from parents, grandparents, or from TV, from theater, from their colleague, their friend, a book, a podcast. Every person takes in life good and bad ideas, and then the person chooses to behave this or that way. So it's not really what people possess, because people possess
But is that choice? Is that predisposition to make that choice a positive one or negative already in us, or do we develop it?
If it goes fixed, what I'm going to decide, there is no point in living, because someone decided my life for me. We are all free to choose. Religions got this point very interesting, because they say you're free to choose, but one day I'll judge you. But you're free to choose. They all say the same thing, free to choose. It's a freedom. You have freedom of choice. So it doesn't matter what my family, childhood, or whatever, I'm still free to choose. Of course, if people were guided through good life and good choices, then it will be easier for them to choose. But so the question can be replied back. For some people it's easy, and for some people it's difficult, but we all have the freedom of choice. So that, to me, that's what it comes down to.
So what made you choose the happier path? What was your tipping point there? Because you are a positive, bubbly person.
Absolutely. Like you.
Yeah.
In my Facebook, if you check it out, it says something that characterizes you. And I have written, happiness is a choice. I choose to do this. You see, my technical engineering, hard skills background led me to a road that my happiness, I thought it was big, but it was really small. And when I realized that I can make choices in life. So sometimes people ask me, what is the meaning of life? And I reply, to live a life with a meaning. So now I have meaning. I aid people to make choices, free choices, of course. I help them to choose, and that gives so much great meaning, and it makes me every night to sleep with a smile on my face.
Oh, that's so nice. So on that note, I've got several questions now, but what do you think makes a good leader and what makes a good team player? I don't want to use the word employees because that implies something maybe derogatory, but what makes a good team player and what makes a good leader?
Well, what you just realize and you say, I don't want to use the word employee, makes you a great leader. You've got now, from little things like that, I realize how people view other people. They're your collaborators, they are your colleagues, they are the people that we all work together to come to the end result. So what makes a good leader? First of all, not to see themselves as the boss, as the leader, but to see themselves as one of them. We're all in this together. So it goes deeper than technical knowledge, which I can offer you in a book. I can send you a PDF, and that's it. Technical is the hard skill. I can teach that in an hour. But then, in order to do it and to do it in the right way and be beneficial to other people, it takes soul, as we say in Greek, psyche. It takes a lot more than knowledge. It takes to have made a good choice. It's all about sentiments, really, controlling anger, pushing enthusiasm, and transferring enthusiasm to other people, and asking questions. That means showing interest. There is a book, 83-year-old book called How to Win Friends and Influence People. Dale Carnegie said it all 83 years ago. You know what it says in that book? 200 pages. 200 times he repeats the same thing. Show interest for other people. Show interest. Sometimes I see you,
and empathy, I guess.
And empathy, exactly. Sometimes I see you going around asking people how they're doing, and so what is this? This is what it's all about. Show interest in their work. Say to them, oh, good for you, and you actually did this. Excellent, good job. People feel proud on that. So that makes a good leader, to empower other people. There are definitions like, I'll give you a unique definition. A leader is a person who creates other leaders. A leader is a person who empowers other people to excel in their profession.
Which takes a lot of work on one's own ego, because a lot of people are afraid that in empowering other people that maybe they'll lose their position, they'll lose their status.
Yes.
So especially, I think we see it a lot in this part of the world.
Well, yes. And you said something about your children that is a characteristic of the leader. And you said you really want your children to be better than you, and you're tops. So that means...
well, thank you.
No, that means that is a characteristic of the leader, when you're not afraid that someone will come and be better than you. You know, in HR departments all over the world, now the hot thing is talent management. And I see HR managers who are really afraid of talents because they think their chair is,
shaking.
Yes, shaking. And they say, my God. So they want talents, but are you able to handle talents?
Right, can you cope with it?
Yeah, can you cope with them? Can you make them even better? Or are you afraid they might take your position? And actually, because sometimes talents do that, they take your position, that means you are a good leader because you chose them, you empower them, and now the road is open for you to go to greater, to move on. So people should never stay stationary. Always move, and that's one way.
And develop, keep moving, keep developing, keep growing.
That's it.
Absolutely. I mean, I would say I've seen it so often, and definitely when I started my career 20 years ago, I mean, especially being who I am. I mean, I came to work here. It's a family-owned hotel. Nobody wanted to train me. I mean, I was like this glass doll that people barely breathed a hello to me in the morning. I was literally left in an office for months with nothing, no guidance.
Wow.
No one wanted to train me. Everyone was worried, from reception to housekeeping to kitchen to finance, so that I would take their job, or I would maybe learn something about them and repeat it back at home, and then they would lose their jobs. So everyone was so insecure. And I pretty much learned the trade on my own, like flicking through files and faxes at the time. You know, emails weren't so in.
You learn the hard way.
I learned the hard way, but I'm so appreciative of that now. However, I've seen it. Okay, I've experienced it firsthand, but I see it all the time where people don't want their assistant manager to be good. They'll hire at best a mini me, and they'll literally say, okay, you're good. Stay there. Stay where you are. Don't question too much. And a lot of people want the yes, sir, no, sir, 3 bags full, sir. People just to come in and say, yes, what a brilliant idea. We'll do it your way. And I always say I hire the opposite. I'm like, if you don't challenge me and if you don't come up with your own ideas, I don't need you here.
Exactly.
You know, I could get someone for, you know, half the cost of you. I can get just, you know, a very junior person, give them the title and then say it's all about me, but it's not about that.
You know, in the beginning, you asked me what I do, and I told you 2 levels. You see, most businesses around the world, they want me only to train the level that interacts with customers.
The front line.
Yes, the front line. But I say to them what you just said. If those who lead those people, who empower those people, who organize those people, who program those people, who ask, who manage them, who lead them, who support these people are not up to it, then nothing will be done. You'll just be wasting your time and money. So that's why I am forced to take both levels, because we can start on the people on the front line, but the continuation and the forever and ever belongs to the ones who support them, the managers. And the managers, if they want to be bosses, then that is old style. These days are gone. Now they have to be empowering people, creating enthusiasm, creating a great atmosphere for them to work and live in. So that's why we see the biggest problem is not on those who see front line people. It's not. They're really, most companies have hired nice people. The problem lies with the managers and the other level, because they really want either people lower than them so they can be selfish.
Boost themselves up, yeah.
And that is where the problem lies for the future. That's where we have to work on their mentality. That's what soft skills is all about. But in the emotional intelligence, social intelligence, not just the IQ, intelligent quotient, but EQ, emotional quotient, creative quotient, social quotient, even ethical quotient. These are all the quotients where I'm teaching at Pascal School. All these quotients, quotient is an indication, is just I don't imply we need to measure these things. I imply that we need to constantly develop, constantly improve.
And how important is it for the leaders and the managers to have their values, to know their values and to express them and to be authentic? Because sometimes people don't even know what they even stand for, and then how to transfer that to people.
Exactly.
And I'd also like to ask what your values are.
Yes, you said it all. In your question, you said the right answer. Unless people have high values, high ethical standards, unless people are stepping on solid ground themselves psychologically and all that, then they cannot create the atmosphere we want for the frontline people to excel. So values, ethics and all that is sometimes people around the world, they say, but they view it as different things. I argue that. But they say, let's say, for example, the Chinese, to copy something, it's not illegal in their country. In fact, if I copy, let's say, this software and make it better, then I'm a clever person. In here is infringement of copyright and the lawyers come heavy onto you. In that country, let's say, I'm giving you an example. So sometimes people say to me, so is this different things and difficult, and is it, different for everybody? No, it's not. It goes down to simple stuff like if I do something to upset you or make you feel uncomfortable, it doesn't matter where I come from, what my ethics are, this is wrong by any ethical standard. If I make you happy, pleasant, you feel nice, this is right by any ethical standard. So let's say stealing. I have my wallet here. If someone takes it, it's wrong. You cannot convince me that there is a country, there is a place that this is right, because nobody likes to lose something. So there are
or have something taken from them,
yes,
whether it's their time,
exactly,
or their money, or their personal goods.
It comes down to black and white. I subscribe to the theory that these are universal ethics, universal values and principles.
And what are your values and ethics?
Well, to make other people happy and make them see within themselves powers that they didn't know they had, because this is what happened with me, and now I feel obliged to do this with other people.
Mm-hmm. And I know that you're a deeply religious person, so that definitely has shaped you and made you who you are. What has religion given you that you can apply to everyone, let's say?
That's a very good question. Yes, religion gives me an internal judge, call it conscience, call it whatever. That is what all religions do. They present within our brain a judge that says this is right, this is wrong, this is good, this is bad. So that is what has given me, and I call it my conscience. I don't really call it, I don't go around broadcasting that I'm a religious person. I mean, you gathered that, but I don't publicize this. I am, but I don't, I'm just saying that I believe my conscience guides me. I want to have a clear conscience. I don't want to do things that they'll be wrong, in my opinion, and it will make people unhappy or feel negative. I want the opposite, people to be happy and think the positive. That's what guides me. I call it my conscience, but really it stems from religion.
And what would you say is the most common mistake that organizations make when you're asked to go in and do a training? I mean, you must see quite a lot of common denominators between so many different businesses and different backgrounds. What's the common denominator that you see that most people make?
Yes, the common denominator is, and that is because I'm old, people don't realize that what brought them so far is not going to take them into the future. So if they have something that's working, the common denominator, leave it, it works. And I'm saying, no, think how to make it better. Because the future is not going to be like the past. So people become arrogant with success, and they say, this is it. Now, happiness and money and pleasure things are going to keep on coming on to me. No, that is not the case. You have to work hard because things change. And the way to prove it to people, I turn to a young lady and I say to her, look, 10 years ago, you were playing with Barbie dolls. She said, well, no, actually, I'm older than that. I said, yeah, 20, let's say. So, or 10 years or 5 years ago, you were not thinking the way you think today. She says, right. What makes you think in 5 years from now, you're going to be thinking the same? So get ready, be prepared. The common mistake people do is if they're successful, they think this is going to continue. Well, I'm here to say, no, it's not. You have to work for success very hard.
And work on maintaining that success.
On maintaining and improving and constantly. If you don't constantly improving, it falls backward. People relax when they reach a good level of financial success or freedom or whatever, and they think this is going to go on forever. And I say, wake up. I've seen it happen. It's not. You have to continuously work to keep things moving, and that comes down to asking people questions. How do you think you could improve this? You see, your expert technical person here, he was asking me about the microphones. Well, these are excellent microphones, but of course there are better microphones and there are worse microphones. So let's move on. And after you get the better microphones, then you're going to be even better microphones out in the market. Better ones and better ones. And there is no stop. It goes for everything. I just use the microphone example now. But it goes for everything.
I guess it's to be open to the idea of change.
Open open, and don't think you achieved anything. Just be humble and help people to see that things are not going to be like the past. And the common denominator, if you want me to close with that, is that people usually are embarrassed or upset or really sorry for something that happened in the past. And people, when I open their eyes to it, they are afraid of what might happen in the future, and they are both wrong, because the past is gone and the future has not come yet. You're going to save it. So it all comes down to today. What are you going to do today? You don't need to be afraid of the future. You don't need to be feeling sorry for something you did wrong. Correct it now. Sometimes people say to me, my mother died and I never got to say to her, I love you. Says, you've got friends, you've got children, you've got relatives. Yes, go say to them. Go say to them. Then your mother will be at ease wherever she is. So do it now. Don't think I'll do it in the future sometime. Act now. The common denominator is that people either are afraid or are feeling sorry for something. And the other, as I said, is that people think they're fine now. And I'm saying no. Continuously strive to improve yourself. Continuously try to be better. And this is what it's all about.
A really common saying that I've heard a lot from older generation as I've been trying to grow and develop is, if something works, don't fix it. Like, this has been working for so long. Leave it. Leave sleeping dogs lie. It's fine. It works. It brought in profits. If it's not as profitable, it will be again. Just leave it. And then if I have done something or have made a change and it hasn't been successful, it's like, well, you see, we told you. But maybe that's been 5% of something, and the other 95% of what's changed has worked. And I think there's a lot to say for not being afraid of failure and actually lapping up failure, because it makes you stronger and it makes you grow.
Absolutely.
And there's been many mistakes in the past and you just have to laugh at them.
Yes. So you see, it comes down to with what people do you surround yourself with? Negative people or people who everybody makes mistakes. People learn from mistakes. A mistake is not a wrong thing. It's not a bad or negative. It's knowledge. Sometimes people pay to hear or to learn other people's mistakes. Yes, it's knowledge. It's valuable. So do you surround yourself with people who try to avoid something wrong, or do you surround yourself with people who are daring to improve things? And once you move forward, you make a mistake, you become better. So next time it will be less mistake and less mistake and less mistake. And you'll never be perfect because situation changes all the time.
And that would be boring.
So and you're always on your feet, and you're always improving, and you're always learning, and you're always improving. And that's what life is all about.
Absolutely. So actually, that's a perfect last question now. If you could tell everyone in the world one thing, what would it be?
Well, for 2022 years now, we know it. It's called love. If you love what you do, if you find love within yourself, and love can be taught, because love is learned. Nobody is born to start loving people. They see it, they see their parents, they see other people do it, and they see people not doing it. So love is my final word to you. Love, you have to find it within yourself, and actually when you share it, it actually multiplies. So you share it and it multiplies. So find it within yourself and then let it shine, and love just everything in life. That's what it's all about, I think.
Definitely. As the Beatles said, all you need is love.
Yes, absolutely.
Although I would say that my personal take on that is that you're born knowing what love is. You're born immediately loving your parents and loving everything. You're born with this innocence and this love. And then, as you then also said, then we're maybe shown not to love, not to be empathic, not to be... my personal take is that most of us are born vegan. We're born, nobody would go out and kill a chicken and eat it.
Yes.
And we don't want to see it now. So yeah, I think that we are born, the child inside us, inside all of us, has that love in them. And it's a thing of us as adults and with all our faults and our backgrounds and our life experiences, is reconnecting back with that inner child. And
yes, this is
doing
so
the love.
nice. So you see, if I was training you, then I would say, Farah, within these values and principles, don't betray these values and principles. Stick with them. So I will empower you to grow within these principles that you just mentioned. Everybody's different, but you have to be true to yourself. And you said it before, the world is authentic.
Oh, thank you so much, Yiannis.
Thank you. Farah.
So the bonus question, because that was my last question, but we are a team effort at St. Raphael Resort and Marina, and our team have come up with some questions. So just tell me where to stop.
Okay.
We've got to...
There, yes.
It's on.
Yes.
Okay, so I don't know what they've asked. This has all been put together by them. So have you had your I've made it moment yet?
My what moment?
I've made it.
Oh,
So that's a good question.
Yes.
Have you had your I've made it moment yet?
I'm afraid I'm going to disappoint this person because I believe life is full of moments like this. I live this every day. I don't expect one big I've made it moment in my life. It's tiny little things that I do, whether I exercise or whether I draw something or whether I type something. Every little, I mean, I could say this 100 times within a day.
Every small achievement.
Every small, I'm afraid I'm going to disappoint this person. I don't aim for something big. My big thing comes from 1,000 small, I've made it things every day. I'm afraid to say that I've
Well,
made
that's even
it
better. That's an even better.
yes.
So you have had, I've made it.
Thousands
Thousands
every
of
day.
them. Millions
and I
of
work
them.
for them. Yes, and I work for them.
Oh, that's so nice.
Okay.
Yiannis, thank you so much.
Thank you, Farah.
It's been a pleasure. Oh, it's always a pleasure. Everyone, don't forget, look up Yiannis Kalogerakis on Instagram, Facebook. He's all over the shop with his happy, positive vibes. So thank you again, Yiannis, for sharing today with us.
Thank you, Farah. It's been a really, really great pleasure.